This is the Rogue Agronomist. If there's any one question I have answered in the past year on various gardening groups on Facebook and elsewhere, more than any other, it's carrots. Y'all love them. Why not? They're sweet, juicy, delicious, totally adaptable in the kitchen. What's not to love? They can be a challenge here in Colorado, but there are some secrets that make your life a lot simpler. Let me explain what carrots love and what carrots need, and then we'll try to plant a small plot here. Carrots love moisture. They're in the celery family. If you think of celery, it's pretty much all water, right? They need water, and they want to be living practically at the edge of a swamp almost, it seems like. So they want lots and lots of water. They want you to feed them regularly with as much moisture as you can manage. One of the things that really affects carrots is they need 2 weeks basically of consistent moisture before they will germinate. That's really hard to do here in Colorado because even if you have your perfect plot, you put out your seeds absolutely perfectly, and you water 3-4 times a day, it's not going to be consistent because our sun will evaporate a lot of moisture right back out. There's a trick. You need to know what to do. So, first of all, before we started shooting today, my husband and my son helped me loosen the soil and remove the mulch layer from over the soil. So then I took some powdered gypsum, and I took that gypsum and spread that pretty evenly. That's why it looks a little grayish here right now. That's the gypsum you're seeing. Gypsum is calcium sulfate, and it helps to bust clay. If there's one other thing that is deadly at carrots, aside from a lack of moisture, it's clay and not being able to expand downward. So, yes, you do need to loosen your soil, even if you're no-till, loosen it. And you also need to, if you can, apply some gypsum to help break up the clay even further. This is an area where I have not previously planted carrots, so that was doubly important this year. So, at this point, all I'm doing is removing old plastic tags and smoothing the surface down. See if there's anything else I need to remove real fast. So I have a pretty even surface. Straw doesn't matter too much. Wood chips and other more bulky material does matter. If you happen to feel a lump of clay, just break it up with your hand, and that's going to be about right. The next step is to take your finger. Your finger is your most useful gardening tool. You may not know it yet, but it is. And if you see any pebbles, toss it aside and start making little divots along your plot. So this only takes a minute or two. You're just gently pushing into the soil, nothing crazy, and you're trying to take space maybe an inch or two apart. Carrots don't need a lot of space to grow. And the closer they are together, something I have figured out in this climate is they help trap humidity for each other, and that helps them to grow. So it could be that overseeding them, which I tend to do a lot, actually helps them. You have to realize in about 5 growing years, I've grown an average of 60 pounds a year for each of those years. In maybe 50 square feet, you could grow a pound a square foot easily, maybe even more, especially if I were to like thin them, which I never seem to get around to doing. So Uh, it's really not that difficult, but the main thing is you just have to give them a chance to germinate. If you give them the right chance to germinate, they'll do so much better. And then you really are most of the way over with your problems. Just keeping them consistently moist through the summer is really the rest of it. So I'm going to pick a random packet of seed. This is going to be Scarlet Nantes. Of course, you open it up. Now, because carrots are small, you have a couple of options. I mean, these seeds are like gravel, really, in terms of size. Fine gravel at that, maybe more like coarse sand. They're not large. And if I could open up this packet, yeah, live video, guys. Pour it out into your seeder. Attach your cap. And you try to sprinkle just a little bit in each hole. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes, folks. So hope you bear with me. And apologies for all the freeway noise. It seems to be rather busy out there today. I do live about 3/8 of a mile from the freeway, so I'm afraid you will hear freeway noise on some of my videos when I'm outside. That's why we shoot a lot of the teaching videos in the shed. It's a little quieter in there, folks. And it does help to keep track of where you're at. So this is not the most perfect seeding job ever, but it will do. It does look like I'm going to run out of seed a little bit early in this plot. Do I have any more? Yeah. Well, I guess I'll use another type of seed to fill in. This happens. So, it's better, in my opinion, to overseed than underseed, because you don't want to have bare spots. That's really troublesome. That's when things dry out. If you have just a few carrots sticking up, they don't tend to do as well either. So, in my experience, if you're going to overseed or underseed, choose overseeding. Because this is like basically the end of this packet, I'm just going to run it out. Don't always do that, folks. Only when you're using up a packet. Now I'm just taking soil and very gently covering the top. At this point, what you want to do is take your hose and there. The red head on the end of this hose is called a breaker head. A breaker head, once I turn this off, you'll be able to see it more easily, has probably 100 holes punched into it, and it helps break the pressure of the water a lot better, so that you get a soaking rain on your plants rather than a thunderstorm. Now that I've turned it off, I don't know if you can see that, folks, but that's a breaker head. And it is super useful when you're doing any kind of seedlings, especially carrots. Now, here's the piece de resistance. If you'll pardon me for a minute, I need to go get it. These are carrot boards, folks. These are my very well loved, very well used boards. And this is your secret to keeping your carrots moist and not having to be there 5 times a day. Just place these in whatever way covers the area best. And sometimes you have to play around with little Tetris to make it work out, but I'll find another board to cover that area later. What do carrot boards do for you? They give you a humid area underneath the boards where the carrots are much more likely to be able to survive and to have enough consistent moisture to be able to grow. That's your key right there. Get that down and carrots will become easy, I promise. So that's really all there is to it, folks. Carrots are a little tricky, but once you learn their tricks, they're easy as can be. And I hope you all can grow a bunch of good carrots this year. And I'll see you around on the next video.